In position 5, this is where we're going to see the magic happen. This is where we're going to really take advantage of our movements up to this point. Right now, we should have our pelvis and our shoulders, our torso, and our hands turned away from the target as far as possible. And there's going to be a little bit of separation between the pelvis turning back towards the target and our shoulders or torso remaining turned away from the target. So we don't want to turn our shoulders and hips at the same time back to the target. We want to make sure that there's just a little bit of delay of the upper body versus lower body.
So as we're talking about position 5, there's a lot of moving pieces here, and this is where sequencing is actually important. And I'll try to go through them each in a specific way that we can understand it and start applying them. So as we're moving into position 4, what actually happens is the hips will actually reach their maximum rotation and will start to rotate back toward the target as he plants his left heel and starts to generate a drive off of his right side. A simultaneous movement here is a dropping and a continued rotation of the torso away from the target. That 5 degrees of separation is what we refer to as X-factor stretch. I've heard a lot of people say X-factor and you don't know how to get there. That's actually the cause. It's the difference between the hip rotation moving toward the target and the torso moving away from the target.
When I'm in position 5 here and my hips begin to rotate, my torso will also then start to rotate towards the target. This feels like my hands are dropping into this slot with this lead arm here. One thing that if I do it incorrectly, it'll feel like my hands get away from me, away from my body, and the club will come across. Typically we call this casting the club, where the club comes out and the hands are away. So a proper feeling or I guess sensation that you would have is that your hips rotate and then your hands almost drop down inside, close to this hip or pocket right here, not out.
So a good way that we work on this is we have Ryan in position 4, moving into position 5, and I'll actually restrict his arm to keep him connected more to his chest. In this move, he can actually start to feel it load and pull his lat muscles in his left side, so now they're ready to fire. Remember, a loose rubber band has no energy, so we want to stretch that muscle and let it release that energy as he starts to engage his torso into the power position. And this will help him to hold the lag right there.